Greetings. My name's Drumboardist. I decided to do some offline plays of Altered Beast while doing local recording via Amarek and also timing myself, as you do when you're trying to set the world record. And I'm pretty sure that I did. I want to go ahead and retime it while also recording this video showing the video that I did of it to determine whether or not, I really did. Because upon a couple of replays back, my timing was like 0.4 seconds ahead. During the actual timing of the run itself, I was, a quarter of a second to a half a second ahead of the world record. So I'm going to go ahead and play it back and time it from here, and we're going to head and try to figure out if I was on point with my time. So in order to set this up, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to set, because normally you'd hit start on the controller, start on the timer, and after 4.85 seconds, you start moving, the timer starts. Because timing for the game starts when you gain control of the player. Timing ends when you lose control of the player after the final boss is dead. So I'm going to go ahead and hit pause. And I'm going to go ahead and hit start on the timer the moment it looks like I'm moving. Is there a way to, actually, now that I think about it, what I would like to do is have just a frame forward, if that is possible, in this. And I don't believe it is, so I think I'm just going to have to... That looks pretty close, so I'm going to hit play and start timing at the same time. So we'll assume that was correct. Now, for those of you that are unfamiliar with Altered Beast, it's a glorified auto-scroller. What happens is that the screen has a normal movement speed, and any time that there are enemies appearing on screen, it'll slow down. So you'll note, now the enemy is slower, moves faster, slow down briefly, but it's fine. I try to minimize as much of the slowdown as I can by killing enemies as fast as possible. Like, if I can get to them as they're appearing on screen, or supposed to be appearing on screen, and kicking them into an oblivion right there, that's what you want to see. That's what I would like to have happen. That's what we go for. Now, I actually make a mistake on this boss. What I want to do is try to time those crouching punches, so I throw a fireball and it tags him right as he appears, and then I can immediately start arrowing through him. But I mistimed the fireball, it didn't hit him, which means I needed one more arrow to hit him, to kill him. So, okay, so my timing right now is darn near perfect. I am 0.04 seconds over. I'll take that as a fine margin for error. And in between stages, there's cutscenes, but you have to mash on A and C to get through it. By the way, my cat wants to yell at me right now. What? He does that sometimes. So again, all of these stages amount to get to where enemies are going to be appearing, kill them as soon as possible. There are 3 blue dogs before the first appearance of the boss. You have to kill all 3 and grab the orb to get to your Altered Beast form. And then the boss will actually fight you. If you don't, he'll run away. You have to do another minute or so of that stage, hopefully get another dog on the way, and then he'll show up again and then you can fight him. You blow it then, there's a 3rd round, hopefully you get powered up. Even if you do not get powered up by the end of the 3rd round, you have to fight him. You do not want to be fighting any of these bosses not powered up. Not fun. This boss, you literally just mash on B in the right timing and he dies, so I'm going to vape. I think it was just a little bit ahead on that split, so we're going to skip that split. I don't believe I just golded a split where when I ran it, I didn't gold the split, so we're going to ignore that one. This stage is annoying and frustrating, and I'm reasonably certain there's RNG, but I don't know conclusively, so we'll just assume I'm bad at the game. There are 2 important things to remember, at least from my perspective. One is there's a zombie right there. You have to pause just long enough for him to be able to actually get onto the screen. If you don't, since the screen is scrolling left to right, and he is coming in from the left, that means this is the edge of the screen. Sorry, yeah, this is the edge of the screen, and this is him, and he's trying to keep up, but he never gets there, and you can never reach him to be able to kick him. So the screen is moving at that slower speed the entire time. That happens more pronounced on stage 4. There are 2 different instances where that can happen. And you can wind up losing about 5 to 6 seconds and never realize it was because there was an enemy. Now this boss, you have to hit him enough so his head comes out of the shell, and then you want to keep jumping up and down and breathing on him. Sometimes, for some odd reason, he'll ignore your attacks and just keep coming after you anyways. Might possibly have been a hair behind on that one, but it's still within the margin of error, I think. We're less than a quarter of a second off, so I'll accept this margin of error right here. So on this stage, there are 2 instances of those enemies I was just talking about, and both of them were fairly pronounced. That zombie that briefly walked in and walked off, if you don't pause a little bit off the right of the screen, if you start moving towards him, he will attempt to continue to keep up with the screen and then try to catch up with you and attack you. Now, he will actually eventually play catch-up because there are so many enemies that will be appearing in this little section there that it'll slow down enough and he can catch you. Now, there was a zombie that you didn't see appear in the top left right after that orb the first orb that I had grabbed. And I had to wait for the screen to come to a complete stop so that the first one would appear, and that gives the other one enough time to slowly work his way onto the screen so I could get them both. If you don't, he walks along, he falls down, and he is walking along pretty much a very large section of the stage. About 20 seconds, you don't realize why the stage is going so slow. But I got him, so we're good. Now this boss is dumb. You have to hit that red orb, that's his weak spot, and you can only hit it with the yellow parts of the arrow that your character is using. However, most of that arrow is taken up by your character's hurt box, so you're trying to find that very tiny window where you can damage the boss, and you'll note I failed and did take a hit. Not a huge time loss, but it happened. Still within, I would say, a reasonable margin of error for how my run went. So I'm gonna, at this point, I'm pretty well assuming that my timing when I made the run was correct. Mash through the cutscene, move on to the final stage. So I made a mistake on stage 3, not getting to an ant on the ground quite quick enough that I could have. I didn't kill a zombie nearly as fast on stage 4 as I should have. I took a hit from the boss on stage 4, and I make one mistake in this stage here, which is this last orb. What I want to do is I want to hit the orb while it's on the ground. I want to jump, grabbing the orb like this, but I should have landed a kick on the dog that's coming at me, and I blew it. So the dog manages to keep the screen slower because he's still alive, and he damaged me, and now I have to actually kill this boss the normal way. If you have yellow or orange health, this boss's sweep attacks won't knock you down, so you can keep punching repeatedly. Because I don't have that, I have to short hop each one of his kicks. So he punches twice, and I have to jump. Third punch, sweep, and go back to it. And after that, it's 3 punches and a sweep over and over again. If you try to run from him, he'll charge at you. Possibly a hair over on there, but again, I'm assuming that that is within the realm of reason for what my original time was, which was a 6:26:73. So, that looks good for me. I felt like that was a good run. And I didn't really do anything during the end credits or anything. I didn't skip through them because I was sitting here going, wow! Because I was so amazed that I managed to get that run off the ground. Because I spent about 3 hours yesterday trying to get that run off the ground and couldn't clear 6:30 most of the time. So I was happy with how that went. And I wanted to go ahead and record it, offer up a few very, very quick notes during the run. That's why I'm not even moving during the credits. You can walk around and attack the credits. I eventually start moving. I realize, oh, I could do things. Yay, let's do things. I think it's here. Nope, not there. I eventually start going, D-pad, D-pad, D-pad. There it is. Punching, punching, jump into end, because the credits can knock you back, because why not? So, that is what happened on that run. I was happy to finally get that one off of the ground. So, that's it for this. Thank you all for your time. Altered Beast.